Right now, 20 billion devices are running on electricity. Every hospital, every phone, every traffic light, every refrigerator keeping food from rotting, every pump pushing clean water through every pipe in every city on Earth. Electricity is not a convenience. It is the operating system of civilization. And it is barely 140 years old. In February 2021, a winter storm knocked out power across Texas. 4.5 million homes went dark in freezing temperatures. Water systems failed. Pipes burst. 14.5 million people lost access to clean water. At least 246 people died, many from hypothermia inside their own homes. The economic damage was estimated at $195 billion. The blackout lasted days. Not weeks. Not months. Days. That is what happens when electricity disappears for 72 hours in one state. Now imagine it never existed at all. The story of electricity begins with a myth. Benjamin Franklin did not discover electricity. He did not get struck by lightning. What he did, in June 1752, was fly a kite near a thunderstorm and draw a small electrical charge down a wet string into a glass jar. He proved that lightning was electrical in nature, a phenomenon scientists had been studying for decades. A Russian scientist named George Wilhelm Röntgen tried the same experiment the following year. He was killed instantly. The real revolution came from a man with almost no formal education. Michael Faraday, a former bookbinder's apprentice, demonstrated electromagnetic induction on August 29, 1831. He showed that a changing magnetic field produces an electric current. That single discovery is the principle behind every generator, every transformer, every power plant on Earth. Every watt of electricity you have ever used traces back to a self-taught scientist moving a magnet near a wire. Remove that moment. Faraday never makes the connection. Electromagnetic induction is never discovered. What happens? No generators. No power plants. No electrical grid. The Industrial Revolution still happens, it runs on steam and water power, as it did in the early 1800s. Factories still exist, but they are chained to rivers for water wheels or to coal mines for steam engines. Every machine in a factory connects to a single central engine through a web of belts, pulleys, and overhead shafts. If the belt breaks, everything stops. Factory layout is dictated by physics, not efficiency. When electric motors arrived in the 1890s, factory productivity jumped 30% simply because each machine could have its own motor and be placed wherever it made sense. Without that jump, the 20th century's manufacturing explosion does not happen. Mass production is slower, more expensive, and geographically limited to wherever coal or water is available. But the real cost is not economic. It is human. In 1895, Wilhelm Röntgen discovered X-rays. Electrically powered. The electrocardiogram, 1903. The iron lung, 1928. The defibrillator, 1947. Dialysis, 1943. The MRI, 1977. Every one of these requires electricity. Without it, doctors diagnose by touch and sound. Surgery happens by daylight or candlelight. There are no ventilators. No monitors. No imaging. A broken bone that today takes minutes to X-ray becomes a guessing game that can end in amputation. Vaccines require a cold chain, refrigerated storage from manufacture to injection. Without electricity, there is no refrigeration. Vaccines spoil. Polio, measles, smallpox, diseases that were eliminated or controlled through vaccination campaigns, continue to ravage populations. The World Health Organization estimates that even today, up to 50% of vaccines are wasted due to cold chain failures in regions with unreliable electricity. Without any electricity, vaccination as we know it does not exist. Life expectancy in the United States in 1880, before widespread electrification, was approximately 40 years. By 1950, it was 68. Electricity was not the only factor. Sanitation, nutrition, and antibiotics all played roles. But electricity enabled most of them. Clean water requires electric pumps. Food preservation requires refrigeration. Hospitals require power. The 28 years of additional life that a person born in 1950 could expect compared to a person born in 1880, a significant portion of that is electricity. Before electric light, the world was dark. Not metaphorically dark. Literally dark. A tallow candle, the kind most people could afford, produced about 13 lumens. A modern LED bulb produces 800. People went to sleep when it got dark because the alternative was burning something expensive. Historians have documented that before artificial lighting, most people slept in two phases, a first sleep and a second sleep with a waking period of 1 to 2 hours in between. They prayed, talked, had sex, or simply lay in darkness. The continuous 8-hour sleep cycle that we consider normal is an invention of the electric age. Before mechanical refrigeration, Americans harvested 25 million tons of ice from frozen lakes every winter. 90,000 people worked in the ice industry. They cut blocks from rivers, stored them in insulated warehouses, and delivered them door to door. The ice man was as common as the mailman. When electric refrigerators became affordable in the 1930s, the entire industry vanished within a decade. Then there was the war. Not a military war. A war between two men over how electricity should flow through wires. Thomas Edison backed direct current, DC. It was simple but could only travel about a mile from the power station. Nikola Tesla, backed by George Westinghouse, championed alternating current, AC. It could travel hundreds of miles through transformers that stepped the voltage up for transmission and down for household use. Edison fought dirty. He staged public demonstrations electrocuting stray dogs and cats with AC to prove it was dangerous. His associates pushed for AC to be used in the electric chair. The first execution, on August 6, 1890, was so gruesome that witnesses reported the smell of burning flesh. Westinghouse said they would have done better using an axe. Tesla won. AC won. The 1893 World's Fair in Chicago was lit entirely by Westinghouse's AC system. The Niagara Falls hydroelectric plant transmitted AC power 26 miles to Buffalo in 1896. Edison's own company, which became General Electric, eventually adopted AC. Tesla died on January 7, 1943, in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan. He was 86 years old. He was alone. He had been living in the hotel since 1933, his bills partly paid by Westinghouse out of loyalty. The FBI seized his papers. The man whose invention powers every wall socket on Earth died broke in a hotel room, and the government rifled through his belongings looking for weapons research. Today, 675 million people still have no access to electricity. Most of them are in sub-Saharan Africa. They cook with wood fires. They study by kerosene lamp. They store no food and refrigerate no medicine. They live, functionally, in the world before Faraday. The rest of us flick a switch and assume the light will come on. We charge phones and run hospitals and pump water and cool food and heat homes and power the entire apparatus of modern civilization on a force that one self-taught bookbinder discovered by moving a magnet near a wire in 1831. Remove that moment, and everything we call the modern world disappears with it.